Hello, welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to show you how to run Agbada on smaller frame embroidery machines. So as you can see now, this is a two-head embroidery machine, and this machine cannot run the Agbada once. But there's a way you can run the Agbada like this, and it's going to come out like you actually run it on a proper Agbada embroidery machine. Alright. So this frame now, from this place to this place, the distance, the highest you can go is 17 inches, and from this place to this place, the highest you can go is 15 inches. So we are going to utilize this space and this space now to run the full length of Agbada on this frame right now. What I'm going to do right now is that I'm going to run the upper part of the Agbada on this side of the edge, right? Then I'm going to run the down part of the Agbada on this side of the head, right? I'm going to show you how it's being done now and input the design on my machine. Right, so this is a Feya embroidery machine, so I'm going to show you how to input your work on the Feya embroidery machine. Right, I'm going to input my flash. Then I'm going to go over to where it's showing the memory card option. I'm going to click on the memory card option. Then I'm going to scroll down to where it says input. You can see input here. I'm going to use this button to scroll up or down. Right, I'm going to scroll down. You can see I already scrolled down earlier. Then I'm going to click on enter key to open the design. Then the name of the design I want to open is DC2. Alright, I'm just going to scroll down. Then I'm going to click on enter. Alright, so it's going to number 1. You can see input any design 1. So it's going to number 1 on the machine memory. Then I'm going to click on enter again. So it's going to bring out this pop-up option to ask me if I want to increase the setting. Alright, this is at N now, that means no. Then I'm going to change it to Y, that means yes. I'm going to click on OK. Then it's going to bring out this. Alright, just in case this one is not as +2, you just use this button to change it to +2. Alright, so it's showing the S compensation, which is supposed to be at 2 +2. Alright, I'm going to click on enter. Same thing for Y compensation +2. Then I'm going to click on enter. That is it. So the work is loading now. Designs that has higher stitch count, it takes a little bit time for it to load on the machine. You can see processing now. So let's wait a little bit and let's see the next thing. Alright, you can see our design is already on the machine memory. So it's going to ask us if we are going to input another design. You can see this now is N, that means no. Then just going to click enter. Alright, then I'm going to escape. Let's go back. Then I'm going to bring out the work from the machine memory. You already know earlier that design actually went to number 1 on the machine memory when we are inputting it on the machine memory. So you just click on this star sign here. Alright, that is the machine memory of the Feya embroidery machine. I'm going to click on it. Alright, then I'm going to click on select design for embroidery, which is number 1. I'm going to click on enter. Alright, then I'm going to scroll to number 1. That's our design. Then I'm going to click on enter. I'm going to click on enter again, and then I'm going to click on enter again. So our design is now set to number 1. You can see it there. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to arrange my material. Alright, so this is the material I'll be using for the Agbada design. So I'm going to hoop it. I'm going to come over here. Alright, then I'm going to use my hoop to hoop it. Alright, so I'm going to hoop. Yeah, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to hoop this also. Right, I'm going to same here. Make sure it's tight. Alright, I'm going to hoop it. Alright, let me move this down a bit. Let me move this and remove. I'm going to remove it and remove. So one thing you need to understand that when you're trying to run Agbada design or any other design on your embroidery, you have to take your time and make sure you fix your hoop, your material. Make sure you fix it very well so that you're gonna get a good results for your designs. Alright. So I'm gonna come over now. I'm gonna hoop, click, fix my hoop here. Alright. Then fix the second one here. I'm gonna do this here also. And make sure it's tight. Alright. Then I'm gonna come over here and fix it. Alright. Then I'm gonna come over here, fix this here also. Then I'm gonna come over here and do this also. You can see it's very tight now. So the next thing now is to select the color I want to use for design, which is white and light ash, all right, or white and light gray. So I'm going to come over to where it's showing these three needle signs, all right. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to select, click it down. I'm going to bring it down to modify. I'm going to click this, then click on enter. So the first color is at number 8, which is white. Then the second number is number 3, which is light ash or light green. I'm going to click on 3. Then I'm going to click on enter. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to get the work ready to run on the machine. Then I'm going to click this button here, all right. Then I'm going to click on enter to set embroidery. You're going to ask me if I want to save the parameter. I don't need to save the parameter. I'll just click on OK. So the next thing now is to trace my design, all right. So like I said earlier, we're going to run the first part on this side of the machine, all right. If your own machine is the India machine, it's the same thing. You run it the same way, all right. I just want you to follow the process I'm going to use to run it on this machine, and you can use it for any other embroidery machine that the frame is not as big as Agbada machine, but it's actually a two-head embroidery machine. All right, so the first thing now is to trace the work. So I'm going to use needle 1 to trace. I already brought my needle to needle 1, so my needle is at number 1. Why it is important to bring your needle to needle 1 is that if you are a beginner, it's going to be very easy for you to trace, and you know that your design is well centralized. I already set my needle to needle 1, so the next now is to trace it. You know, the normal length for Agbada is always around 24 inches. So when you cut it into 2, it's going to be around 12 or 12 point something. So this design now, the upper part is 12.3, around 12.3. So I'm going to make sure that I trace that 12.3 on this upper part. All right. So I want you to pay attention to what I'm going to do, because this is the most important part of what we are going to do to join our Agbada design properly. All right. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to just make sure this is at the center. I'm going to move it here. All right. Move it down. All right. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to click on home. I'm going to come over to frame to border. All right. Then I'm going to click on enter. Then I'm going to click on enter again. So I'm going to trace. So you can see this is tracing already. All right. You can see it's tracing already. You can see. Now you can see from this look of things, when we trace this design, it shows that that design can actually enter this part of the frame. That is the upper part. But there is another important thing that you need to do. You need to make sure that this part is actually at the middle. That means when you are tracing, you have to make a little sound for you to know that it's actually at the center of the frame. Because after running this part, you are going to run this part again, and this part is going to join this part. So you have to make sure that this part is actually at the middle. So you have to make sure that when you're tracing, design actually ends right at the middle here. So I'm going to move my frame down a little bit. I'm just going to move it down. Please, I want you to pay proper attention to this. I'm going to move it down, right? I'm going to move it down. Then I'm going to trace again 5, right? I want you to pay attention to it. I'm going to make a little, you can see, I'm going to make a little sound. It means that it's right at the center now. It has made that little sound. You have to make sure that it is right at the center here. The extra space we have here doesn't matter. The most important thing is to make sure that your design is right at the center, actually meets at the center here. This is where we want it to be. Because you make sure that it actually makes a little sound. Let me do it again. I'll bring it up, because when I'm bringing this little down, I'm very sure that my frame is not going to hit on this part. I already know that it has entered here when I was tracing in. That was why I actually brought this needle down. All right, so I'm going to move it down a little bit more. All right, I'm going to move it down a little bit more. Please, I want you to pay attention to the sound that it's going to make when it gets to the middle here. It has to make a little sound, so I will show that it has actually entered the middle here. All right, I'm just going to click on. I'm going to scroll down to trace my work. Then I'm going to click on the enter key to trace. All right, I want you to pay attention to the sound. So it has not made that sound now. All right, so it means that it's not at the middle here. All right, it has to be at the center of the frame on this side, because all the space does not matter. All this space that is showing here does not matter. I'm going to move it down a little bit again. It has to make a little sound here to make sure that it's actually at the center here. I'm going to click on trace again. It still has not made that sound, so I need to bring it down again. Make sure that it makes that sound. Let me bring it to the center here again. Then I'm going to trace again. You can see it actually make that sound now. It means that it is at the center of the frame. I'm going to do it again for you to see properly. All right. I'm going to move this down a bit again, just a little bit, so that I want you to pay close attention to the sound that it's going to make once it gets to this video. I'm going to click on home. I'm going to click on 5, then enter again to trace. Pay attention to the sound it's going to make here. You can see it already make that sound. That makes it at the center here. So you are good to go now. Just run this upper part. After running this upper part, then we use this edge to run this part. So use this edge to run the upper part of the agbada. Then we use this edge to run this downside of the agbada. So I'm going to put up this edge now. This edge must not run. What we are actually focusing on is this edge of the machine. This edge has to run the first part, which is the upper part of the agbada design. So I'm going to put my gum stay now and just press on start. So the next thing now is to put the gum stay for my work. All right, so I'm going to check. All right, then I'm going to cut this out. All right, so I'm going to put my gum stay. All right, so it depends on what you use to hold down your work. But gum stay is what everybody generally uses. So I'm going to make sure that this gum stay is actually for the whole agbada design. All right, because you are still going to run the down parts of the agbada. So I'm going to go over now and put my gum stay. I'm going to put the gum stay. Right. Then we already set the color guide. We already traced properly. We are sure that the design is going to enter our frame. And we already know that it is at the center here. So when we are done running this part, it's going to join it. We are going to use this other head to join it at the center here. All right. So I'm just going to check my under thread. I need to be sure that this is set properly. All right. I'm going to put it. Then I'm going to click on start to start. So I just stopped the machine to show you something on the machine. So the estimated time for this upper part of this work now is like 2 hours. So I'm very sure you already know that agbada designs always take longer time. So this is 2 hours. So it's going to take 2 hours for it to run the upper part. So after running the upper part, then we are going to run the down part of the agbada. Let me click start to continue.
So the second color just started now. That's the light metal or the light blue color. Right, you can see that I want you to pay attention to another thing. You can see the first head of the machine is off. The first head is not running, so we have to put up that head to run the upper part of the design. Alright. So I want you to pay close attention to whatever is happening here now so that I can get it properly. Alright. That's great. Alright, so the upper part of our Agbada just finished running now. So I'm going to go over to my system now and save the down part and show you how to join it. Alright, so I just put my flash to the machine. Alright, I showed you earlier how to, input your work on this failure machine. I'll just go over to where it's showing the memory card option. Alright, I'll just come over to inputs. Then I'm going to come down to my design, DC2 down. That's the name of the down part. Alright, then I'm going to click on enter to expand certain. Yeah, enter. That is it. So the design is now on the machine memory. I'm just going to continue input. So I'll just click on enter. I'm going to click on escape. Then I'm going to go over to the machine to select the design. Alright, design is at number 2. This is the down part of our Agbada design. So I'm going to click on enter. That is it. So you can see, if you look at this screen very well, you see this plus sign here. If you look at this screen very well, you see the plus sign here. It means that this is the midpoint of our design. So we are going to move our frame to this side of the machine. So let's get started. So what I'm going to do now is to bring this down. All right, I'm going to bring this down now. So I'm going to select, I'm actually using number 8. The first color is actually number 8. All right, so at least I will set it to the first color now. Let me move it to number 8. So the first color is number 8. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this now to this side. That was the reason why we actually put the midpoint at the edge of the design on the system. All right, so I'm going to move it down now. I'm going to move my frame down to this edge. You have to pay attention to it. I'm going to move it down. Right, that is it. You can see, you make sure it's at the very edge where the upper part ends. You have to make sure that you put it at the very edge where the upper part ends. All right, that is it. Can you see that? So you can see now where the upper part ends. That is where we are actually starting from. So I just move it, make sure it's very close. All right. Make sure it is very close at the very edge so that our journey is not going to show. All right. That is it. So that is, this is at the, because we are very sure that it's at the middle of this design now, and it's very close to where the upper part ends. All right. So I'm going to trace now just to be sure that we are right. You can see. Can you see that? So it's at the very edge. Can you see that? That is it. And also, you have to pay attention. Don't move your frame backwards, all right, or move it to the front. Don't move it this way and this way. The only way you can move it this way, because if you move it this way or this way, you are going to tamper with the alignment of the design. All right. So make sure you want to move it just the way I showed you earlier, to move it close to where the upper part ends. All right. So we have traced now. Just press start. That is actually how to join your Agbada design. So I'm going to bring in the work. That is it. Then I'm going to press start. So I've not set the needle color. So I'm going to set the needle color to maybe 8. All right. And the backspace. And I'll just press start. See?
All right, this is the final result of our Agbada design. You can see how beautiful it actually came out. You can see there is no sign that we actually joined it. So if you join your Agbada design properly, this is how it's going to come out well. All right. You can see it's not even showing that we actually joined it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.